than the current mortgage that I have now, which is at about $120,000 that I owe currently.
So $120,000 on the mortgage, and once these damages are divvied out among all of the homeowners, what do you think it'll be?
Right around $30,000 if I were to pay it out of pocket up front.
And what is the stipulations? Can you just pay it over time with no penalty? But you can't sell the condo without paying the fee.
Right. I'm sure that's probably how it would work.
Sure.
They're not there yet. They still need to get quotes and everything.
Okay.
Like that $3 million mark is just the preliminary company that came in. They want to get quotes from 3 others before they
bids.
take action. Yeah.
Oof. And so what's your current HOA fee?
Right now, they just bumped it up to $500, and next year, so like by the end of this year, hopefully they should have a plan in place to repair the damages. That's their goal, the board, and they had like a projection increase over the next 20 years. It would be a 20-year loan that they would take out most likely to do the repairs, and the HOA would max out around the 15-year mark, so somewhere around like 30 something, it would be up around like $725 it would cap out at.
Okay.
But next year it would be around $600, but this year we're at the $500 mark.
Got it. So we're talking about an increase of $1,200 a year, potentially.
Yeah,
and then
right
eventually $2,400 a year plus. But that kind of caps
Right.
out. You're not going to be paying $2,000 in HOA fees.
No.
Okay,
No.
so that's what we're talking about here. I just like to put numbers on it to give me some real facts, because this does stink, and it happens all over, and you're right, a lot of HOAs are not managed well, and things like this happen, and it gets passed on to the homeowners, of course. So not fun to deal with, but this is part of life. As a homeowner, you get to deal with. So what is your mortgage outside of the HOA fee? What does that add up to?
Like the monthly payment?
Yes.
It's about $888 principal and interest.
Okay, and then
month.
what is your take-home pay after taxes per month?
Take home, I think I'm right around maybe $3,300.
Okay. So as a percentage of your income, that mortgage plus the HOA, it's taken up a good chunk.
Right.
You know, when you look at $1,388 out of $3,300, it's 42% of your take-home pay right now is going toward this house. And so as that goes up, you know, it could creep up to 50% of your income is going toward this house, which is then going to be hard to invest for the future, hard to live your life. Are you feeling that pain right now?
Not so much right now. I'm pretty frugal. I try to save as much as I can. But I'm definitely concerned about the future, especially as the HOA fee creeps up to $600 by 2025, potentially.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Once you put numbers to it and you add this into your budget, the extra, $50 a month they're going to start charging is not going to crush you. That's $600 a year. Correct?
Correct.
So it's not fun to pay the extra $600 a year, then $800 a year, but it's not worth. Let's go ahead and sell the condo today, because you might have to deal with more HOA fees and higher HOA fees elsewhere if you went and sold and bought another property, especially in the Boston area. Because my brother's got a condo in the Boston area, and he knows this life well. These are some old condos that have not been taken care of very well. So Jack, if I'm in your shoes, I'm gonna hold off. Is what I'm telling you right now. It's not worth it to save $600 a year. I would rather you go make more money. So how can we get your income up to where this isn't as big of an issue? What are you doing for work?
Yeah, I work at a health insurance company.
Okay. How long you been there?
I've been there about 2 years.
Okay. Are you making around $50K? What is the actual gross salary?
So the actual gross salary, and I might have messed up the take-home pay figure there after taxes, but I gross about $80K a year.
Oh, great.
That's good. What's promotion look like for you?
That's a little bit uncertain at the moment. The company's kind of going through a restructure, so I might be at that salary for a little bit while.
Okay.
Longer.
Well, and again, but you're a young man, and you got plenty of option, plenty of energy, and to George's point, at this season of your life, that gig, the gig economy right now, where people are using their professional skill set, which you have plenty, to make money on the side, and contract labor. Look, that's the way you get more margin right now. And if you want more margin, go get it. And you may get to a certain point where you go, okay, I'll do it for 6 months. I'll do it for 12 months. I'll do it for 18 months to save X amount of dollars. It's not a bad idea if you've got the margin relationally to be able to do it.
Yeah. And Jack, if you did choose to sell, you got to also think about the fees that you're going to pay to sell it, the fees you're going to pay to buy a new condo, moving costs. So there's a lot of other figures to factor in that I think would outweigh the extra $600 you're going to pay in the next year. So down the line, if you want to move because of other reasons, you can move. But I would stay put for now.
But what do you think is going to happen on the other side of the improvements if he stays? And I agree with you, he should stay, but I think he benefits. I mean, sure, he's going to pay more in HOA, but then, if he sells it down the road, I would imagine these improvements are going to help his sales price.
You would hope. One would hope, especially in the Boston area. And I'm sure even in the 8 years, Jack, you've been there, the condo is appreciated, correct?
Correct, yep.
So that's a win right there.
That's the other thing I was going to mention. I like the benefit of the improvements. If you hold, like George says, and I think George is right for every point he makes, but I'd add that to it. You're going to benefit from that. Think of it as an investment in your resale value.
And even paying the, $1,300 total with HOA and the mortgage, that's still pretty reasonable for a metro city like Boston.
Incredibly
to have your
reasonable.
own place. So you've done this really smart, Jack, and I'm proud of you for living on less than you make. That's the key to this whole thing. Do you have any debt?
I don't. No, I just paid off $33,000 over the summer for my student loans.
Wow,
way to go, man.
Jack, way to go, man. How's that feel?
It felt awesome. Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
I'm proud of
it.
You got an emergency fund as well, 3 to 6 months?
I do, yep.
Great. And you're investing in your retirement plans?
Yep.
Look at that.
I have one more question. Jack, are you born and raised or been in the Boston area a long time?
No, I grew up in the New Hampshire area, so north of Boston by about an hour.
All right,
still a New Englander.
The reason I ask is because you and George, both, you'd never know that you've lived a long time in that area. I'm pretty impressed with the lack of accent.
We lose it, Ken. We're chameleons. We can bring it up when we want to.
Give me an example. Take us to break in Boston. Bostonian.
Dude, you been to the Red Sox game? Dude, it was wicked sick, dude. Poppy just smashed one to the green Mazda.
There it is. Keeping it PG for the show.
You actually have to know about baseball to finish that, but it was good accent.
I almost lost it at Green Monster. That one you got to get for Fenway.
Monster.
This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, I've told you before about Christian Healthcare Ministries, a health cost-sharing ministry. But listen to Jenna, a CHM member. She said,
of you out there, you've been listening for a while. Maybe you're still sitting on the sidelines. Well, no more sitting around. You got to take action. So in just one weekend, you're going to get a crash course on everything we teach about money. We've got all brand new content, new talks from all of the Ramsey personalities, including Dave Ramsey, on budgeting, beating debt, investing, making more money, and so much more. So no matter what baby step you're on, if you're just getting started, maybe you're even at baby step 7 and you're looking for ways to build wealth and give generously, this event will light a fire under your butt to keep going, to keep making progress. We've also got some special things happening during the event. We've got a live Smart Money Happy Hour recording on Friday night. That'll be a blast. We've got live Q&As throughout the weekend, which is one of my favorite things to witness from our friend Ken Coleman. When he dives in with one person in the crowd, it is magic. So you don't want to miss this. Our events are actually fun. These are not boring. We've got musical experiences. Our team is world class. So early bird tickets start at just $99, but they're going to keep going up. This is the cheapest you're going to find them. So get your tickets now, RamseySolutions.com/events, and make plans to join us. Nashville, Tennessee, May 10th and 11th. RamseySolutions.com/events.
And we're kicking around some fun ideas, that may or may not make it.
Is this you pitching to get on Smart Money Happy Hour
Well,
again?
I've already done that. I already did that last week, and I'm not going to pitch it again. So you brought it up, but that's what people want.
I knew it was ruminating in that little mind
I've got
of
another
yours.
idea that you and I, a lot of guys don't care what they wear. Their wives care what they wear.
Yes.
What if we had a special bonus session? You and I lead it, couples only, and we kind of help the wives out, and we call it Total Clothing Makeover.
And the wives will volunteer their husbands to parade on stage, and we will judge their fashion and give them some tips.
Yeah. So
this is
basically,
good content.
We'll give them tips, and then you'll help them do it on a budget.
This is actually good. Ken,
Maybe you start with Deloney.
We could start with
Deloney. Start with John.
Thank you, James.
Everybody knows that guy needs a total clothing makeover. I mean, first of all, would it kill him to dress like a doctor?
I think we all have that teenager that dresses like Deloney in our lives, you know?
But listen, I actually make no fun of it because you know what? The guy doesn't have to make a lot of decisions.
That's true.
You and I, on the other hand, we're stewing every morning.
Which shawl cardigan are we going to throw on this morning?
Hey, I haven't rocked a cardigan in a while, but you know what? I'll do it next time we're on together just so you can take shots at it.
Oh, that's fun. We have a good time.
We do. We enjoy it, and we're going to have a good time helping people out. Who's up next?
Well, it's time for the neighborly question of the day.
Oh, the neighborly question of the day. That's right.
Yeah, don't get too excited. But this is a really good one. I'm excited to get your input. So then, Ramsey Show question of the day brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Neighborly.com/Ramsey is the place to go. You can download their winter maintenance checklist, completely free and full of tips to get your home through the colder months with no issues. Again, you can check it out at neighborly.com/Ramsey.
Today's question comes from Billy in Indiana. 10 years ago, I was destitute and owed $15,000 to the IRS. I raised my kids by myself with no contribution from my ex-wife. I followed your teachings, and I'm now debt-free with money in savings and investments. I'm retired and living very frugally, but I'm terrified of being destitute again. My weekly grocery budget is, am I reading this right? $35. Right. I don't use the AC in the summer and won't turn on the heat in the winter. This is from Billy in Indiana. He turns it on when it gets below freezing.
Yikes.
I've taken all the light bulbs but one out of all the fixtures in the house. I take 3-minute showers and haven't eaten out in 2 years. How do I live without my phobia of being broke again? Man, this is intense. But let me just say, destitute, it's a heavy word. The kids, the youngsters
some stories behind
don't know what that word means, but it takes down and out to a new level, and I think that him having nothing at all so seared his conscience.
Yeah. I mean, this is as much emotional, relational as it is financial.
I do, and I think
he
this
has
is
money
therapy. I think this is I think I would get some therapy on this to be able to create a narrative that is in opposition to the voice of fear. Because the voice of fear is rooted in tremendous pain, George. And so you've got to counteract that. This, again, Deloney's not here, but the bottom line is this is a form of OCD. And OCD is anxiety, and I'm not in any way diagnosing him with OCD, but I'm saying it feels like he's so obsessed with saving money that you're talking about $35 a week, not using the air conditioning.
I've seen this episode of Extreme Cheapskates. These people do not have thrilling, joyful lives.
They're terrified.
They're terrified. And so I would start with, I think Ken's spot on here. Billy, you need to go to therapy and deal with the past. And a good start is reading our friend Dr. John Deloney's book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, because you're not there anymore. You're doing well now. And so we tell people to make a budget and actually look at how much margin you have and force yourself to go out and eat once a week. Force yourself to go be generous. We found that generosity can unlock something when it comes to that destitute mindset, and it will make you have an open hand when it comes to money. So I would start to give, save, spend in each area. You're great at saving, and that muscle has been flexed, but you got a flat tire when it comes to giving and spending. So I would increase both of those, force it in your budget. And the other thing I would do is get people around you. You sound like you're isolated, like you're living like a recluse. Start making some community. Get plugged into a local church. Hang out with family and friends. That's going to help you break out of this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is just overcoming the trauma and then beginning to get the tools to get over it. But then you got to take some steps and go, okay, what if I spend $150 a week on groceries?
Is it going to tank you? No.
Can you? But I think the fear is so great here that even seeing it on paper, I don't know that that's going to solve it.
Well, stair step it. We're going to spend $40 this week, $45 the next week, until you're spending a reasonable amount. I mean, this sounds like it's affecting your health.
Yeah.
If you're living in a 34-degree house eating literal rice and beans, that's frightening. So, Billy, we're wishing you the best, man. But you got to take some steps to knock yourself out of this vortex. Sorry to hear you're going through that. All right, let's go to the phones. Janice is in Orlando. Janice, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
To give you some background, Well, I'm 58 years old, divorced. I work full time. I have no debt.
Hey, Janice, sorry to interrupt you. Could you maybe adjust your phone? You sound a bit muffled.
Oh, okay. Is this better?
A little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay.
So 58, divorced, you're working full time.
Yes, no debt. I have an emergency fund, so I'm currently saving for retirement as well. The problem is I currently rent out a studio, and with rents increasing the way they have been, I'm getting a little nervous, and I'm wondering if at 58, is that a good age to maybe purchase a condo? I don't want to get into a situation where the rents get too high and I'm not able to pay it, basically.
I think now is a great time if you have the money, and you can put down the down payment and you're able to cover this mortgage. It's no more than a quarter of your take-home pay. That's how you know you're making a right decision. But I think you're right. I would rather you have a fixed cost and pay off that house so that you can retire with dignity without these rising costs of rent weighing you down in retirement. So how much money do you have saved outside of the emergency fund?
The emergency fund, I have $30K.
Okay.
And
but you haven't started on the down payment savings?
No.
Okay. I would begin there. How much money can you put away every month for this down payment now?
Well, let's see. I have $30K in my emergency fund, which may be a little too much. Total money that I have is, the last time I checked, which was 2 days ago, $117,000.
Is that in retirement, though, or is that liquid cash in the bank?
That's everything.
Okay.
30 is liquid, and then the rest is split between a 401k and Roth.
Okay, I don't want you touching those retirement accounts. We need to build up money outside of that with future income. And so that's what I would do. Increase your income, put that money aside. When you're ready, reach out to a Ramsey trusted real estate agent at RamseySolutions.com. And we're wishing you the best with the homeownership journey.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com and save up to 35% off everything site-wide. That's Blinds.com to learn more.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman. If you like this show, be sure to check out all of the shows on the Ramsey Network, including The Ken Coleman Show, which films right next door to The Ramsey Show, which is fun. And, of course, the Smart Money Happy Hour. I co-host with Rachel Cruz, and my YouTube channel. We're having a good time over there, Ken. Breaking records around here. People are enjoying the YouTube content.
Well,
so that's
I mean,
good.
Your team's doing a great job, and you obviously are really great for that quick, snippy, entertaining. You're just perfect for YouTube.
That means the world. I'm
being serious.
Well, I've got a face for radio, and I think YouTube is the next best place for people who don't have the face, You can make it as a YouTuber out there.
You don't have to be good looking. You just got to be good.
That's the best encouragement I could ask for from Ken Coleman today. I like that.
I think you're a good-looking guy. I'm trying to compliment you here.
I'm not fishing.
You're what?
I'm not fishing for compliments.
I know you're not, but I'm just saying I'm not surprised that the channel's doing great. I think it's fantastic. Very happy for you.
We have a great team here. All right, let's get to the phones before we get in a massive fight. CJ, break this up, my friend. How can we help you today?
Hey, George. Hey, Ken. So I'm a 21-year-old, and I've just accumulated about $90,000 from a sign-on bonus for becoming a professional baseball player. And my goal is I'm just trying to maximize this money and kind of set myself up for, an easier road down the line.
Nice.
And so I just don't really have a starting point, and I just want to get some advice for what to do with this money.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, you said you're 19?
21.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
21 years old. This is the most money you've ever seen in your life, I imagine.
Yeah, it's more than I know what to do with, for sure.
Good. It should take your breath away just a little bit. Not cause you to go in paralysis mode, but enough to pause and go, breathe.
Now,
Yeah,
have you already gotten it?
Breath every time I see it.
So is it in your savings account right now?
It is. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So let's talk through your financial situation. Do you have any debt?
No, I'm debt free.
Nice.
Emergency fund, 3 to 6 months?
Yep, it's included within that.
Wonderful. Okay, so you already have no debt and a pile of money in the bank, regardless of the $90K, or is this on top of that?
No, that's it. As well,
Okay.
I'm gonna have a checking account with like my. I keep my weekly pay or my biweekly pay in that checking account. Just use that.
Great. So how much will you be making going forward?
It's about $1,000. It's about $2,000 a month going forward.
Okay.
Do you get also expenses taken care of, or are you required to take care of your own expenses?
Yes, for the next 5 months at least, my living is taken care of. 2 out of 3 of my meals are taken care of. And so my only expenses right now are groceries, gas, and whatever I want to do for fun.
All right, what happens after the 5 months? Because this is going to dictate what George is going to coach you on. What happens after that 5 months?
I would either have to move back. Well, right now I'm renting out a house, so I would have to either move back into the team-sanctioned hotel, or I would be set up at an apartment complex at like one of our affiliates where I'd be playing.
When you say set up, are they paying for it?
Yes, my living can be taken care of after this next 5 months.
Okay,
Great.
Good. All right.
As well as meals.
At least 2 out of 3, yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
So it's going to really limit your expenses going forward, which is wonderful, as long as you have this career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, without getting into the particulars, he's in the early stages.
As far as professional baseball goes.
Yeah. He's got quite a path. If things get better, I mean, you're in the minor leagues right now, I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so as he moves up, obviously he could get a really large contract. But as long as he's in the minors, the actual pay is not very big.
Yeah.
So
Right. It could be a very long journey, so I would just
So the
want to be able
sign-on
to
bonus is
maximize
great,
what
but
I
we
have.
also have to manage this well because you may end up needing some of this
that's
down
correct.
the line.
Sorry,
Sure.
CJ, I'm catching him up on this.
That helps me. Ken is my sports historian. He helps me with this stuff.
Well, thank you, Ken.
So you're in a great place financially already. Are there expenses coming up that you know you're going to have to pay for, like a car repair or upgrading the car, things like that?
A flight. I know I'm definitely going to have to pay for a flight soon, but that's,
Okay.
I mean, that's $300 to $400.
Great. So the key here is we got to continue living on less than we make. We don't want to go use this sign-on bonus to just go buy a $90,000 car on vacation.
What about taxes?
Taxes are another thing we have to be thinking about. Is this going to be taxable income, I assume? You're going to owe 25, 30% on? 40%?
It's been taxed already, but I'm still learning taxes and everything, so I'm sure there's something I'll have to pay.
I would
down the road.
connect with a Ramsey Trusted Tax Pro at RamseySolutions.com, and they can help coach you through this to make sure, because what I don't want is you wake up to a huge tax bill that you're not prepared for that eats up all of this money.
Right.
So for now, CJ, I'm going to leave this in a high-yield savings account. And I would continue to invest out of your paychecks. Is there some sort of retirement plan provided, or are you on your own for that?
I'm on my own for that.
Okay. And for that, you may want to reach out to a SmartVestor Pro. These are investing pros that can help you with the investing journey. But a Roth IRA is always a great place to start when you have earned income, as long as you're not above the income limit. And so you could fund one of those with this $90,000 to just get a head start if you haven't been investing at all.
Okay.
And if you
no, I haven't been investing at all. So a Roth IRA is a good place to start.
Roth IRA, yes. And as long as you're, I imagine you're under the income limit right now, you could be getting close with this $90K sign-on. So again, check on your adjusted gross income for the year, and if you're able to contribute to that, that's a great place to start. I believe for 2024, it's now $7,000 you can contribute a year. And within that, the Roth IRA is just a shell, CJ. You want to actually buy funds within that. And I would not recommend single stocks. What you're looking for here is good growth stock mutual funds. And our team will send you a resource for that. I've got a video called Investing for Beginners on YouTube that walks through all of this. And that will help you out immensely as you start this journey. But at 21, CJ, if you continue to live on less than you make, you invest 15% of your income, you never touch debt, you're going to be so unbelievably wealthy. And you're just getting started with this career.
Yes, right. So thank you all so much for the advice. I'll look into Roth IRAs, not the single stock, but what's the other one?
Mutual funds. Growth stock mutual funds is where that just means a giant pool of stocks, like 90 to 200 stocks in one bucket, so that you're diversified, because you don't want all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to investing.
Right.
And CJ, you don't have to answer this. You don't have to answer this. I got to ask: Are you allowed to tell us your position, or would you rather not?
Yeah, I'm a pitcher.
Oh, I was wondering. So, okay, what's your best pitch? What's your go-to pitch?
That's a fastball, baby. That's a fastball.
Yeah, the high heat. Yeah.
I know about the fastball.
Do you know about the fastball?
I played a little MLB 2000 back in my day, Ken. CJ knows what's up.
There you go.
CJ, man, that's awesome. Listen, man, we're cheering for you. And George, let me tell you this. If CJ keeps advancing as a pitcher, we're talking, he's going to call back one day with
a lot of zeros. He's going to be like, I'm buying my 7th rental property.
Let me tell you, George, the pitchers make the big bucks. I'm
proud of him.
Yeah, good job, CJ. Well, keep at it, buddy. Take care of your body.
Yeah. Ignore all your buddies who are like out buying really expensive stuff because they just got the signing bonus. That's going to be the hardest part for you, is avoiding the distractions.
I agree.
And to help you with that, I'm going to send you a copy of my brand new book called Breaking Free from Broke. There's a great chapter on investing traps in there. There's a chapter called Wealth is Patience. It's going to teach you all the stuff I just outlined. So I hope that helps you along this journey and helps you avoid mistakes. This is the book people wish they read when they were 21, CJ. So hang on the line. Austin's going to pick up. We will send you a link to the Investing for Beginners video, as well as a copy of my book, Breaking Free from Broke.
All right, honest question, George. How fast, what's the fastest pitch that you think you could even just get the bat around and touch the ball? Forget hitting it solid. Just you could get around on it and make contact.
How fast?
What's the fastest?
Oh, like if someone threw a 70-mile-per-hour pitch.
Yeah, have you been paying attention to what we've been talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be modest.
What do you think? What's the fastest pitch you think
40
you could
miles
hit?
per hour.
40 miles an hour.
Is that reasonable?
That's ridiculous.
You're saying I couldn't do it?
You should be able to. 40 miles an hour is not that fast.
I wanted to go modest.
Well, that was ridiculous.
What could you hit? Could you hit a 70?
I'm going to say I could get around on 70. For sure I could get around on it. Whether I hit it squarely, I think I could still probably hit an 80-mile-an-hour pitch. We'll see.
I think we should...
I play a lot of pickleball.
Let's hit the old diamond, Ken. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. I'm George Kamel. He's Ken Coleman. We'll be back before you know it. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Ramsey personality George Kamel, joined by my esteemed colleague, Ken Coleman.
Esteemed today.
Very esteemed, and we are so pumped to take your calls about money, about work, about your life. If you've got a question about that job opportunity, the job you feel stuck in, what you're really meant to do, what you're wired to do, Ken is the man for those questions, and he can expertly guide you through that. If you need to just make
Hey everyone, so I think for the rest of the video, I'm gonna do some voice overlay and describe what I'm gonna be working on, and essentially like what I'm doing in the game. I'm not always gonna be talking, but the podcast is just gonna be running in the background, and I'll commentate on the stupid shit, and yeah. Anyway, so when it comes to this one, I'm probably gonna do either the devotion or the prescription. I'll give that. Probably maybe the prestige. I don't know, because that is important because it raises the amount of whatever this shit you get. Same with that. Fuck off. But yeah. So now that that's higher, this will go up more. Or I don't remember if it works like that, but anyway. I'm gonna turn my mic off. Not sure if I left my mic off mute or on mute. Anyway. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm being kind of quiet, it's because it's late. And my roommates are asleep. But yeah. So I wanted to ask you guys before I posted the video. I was thinking of just leaving this podcast, like different podcasts on in the background, but this is just like an introductory video. Sorry, I'm tired. Gonna get off this in a second, but just playing for a bit. But I wanted to ask you before I hopped off mic, did you want me to be on mic, or did you want to just listen to the podcast in the background in the videos? I probably won't be on mic most of the time in my videos, but because I don't always like doing commentary, but I do like being able to describe what I'm doing in the game, but I can do that pretty well with just the mouse. But what I was trying to say when I was pointing out the thing about Spain is I don't want Spain to get control of southern Italy before I can take it. So, but yeah. But how this happened, I was in a war with Provence. Burgundy was allied with them, so I took them as a vassal. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna hop off mic now because I'm tired and I sound stupid and stoned. But I'm just tired. But anyway, yeah, bye.
As soon as that money hits your account, you're never going to see the money. Essentially, it's going to go towards the debt, and whatever's left is going to go sit in a high yield savings account as your starter emergency fund as you continue to build it.
Yeah, and Lydia, let's walk through the numbers you just gave us. If you pay the $20,000 off, you still have $10,000. You said you're on track to pay the $20,000 off by the end of 2024, and you said 30,000 was the number, so that means we're debt-free instantly, and then by the end of the year, we have a fully funded emergency fund. That's the order. That's the way that George and I would do that. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's great.
You're getting to freedom and stability faster by doing it this way.
Okay.
And I don't think it's worth the risk of renting this place out. You're not going to make much spread probably because of the mortgage and what you're going to rent it for, on top of one thing going wrong and you guys can't cover it, putting you further into debt.
Because the first time they do something or you can't prove they did it or something happens, guess who pays for that repair?
Of course.
Sell the house immediately. Immediately upon deposit, as George said, pay off the $20,000. Put 10 in savings and keep going on the debt plan, except now that's going into savings to get us to 3 months of expenses, or 3 to 6, whatever it is. And then now you guys are rocking and rolling, and keep stacking cash in the form of baby step 4. Once you get to that stage, while you're getting that free housing, come on.
This is a great situation. All right, let's go to Alexander in Dallas. Alexander, welcome to the show.
Hello. I was calling to ask you a question. I'm trying to pay off my car. I'm not exactly sure if I should just keep chipping away at it or not, or if I should do some other drastic move to get rid of it. I currently owe $20 on it, and it's worth about $8,000 or $9,000.
Okay.
And that's almost all the debt I have. I have like $300 other dollars in debt.
All right. What car is this?
It's a 2015 Subaru Forester.
And have you checked Kelley Blue Book private party value?
Yes, private party value is about 12 or so.
Okay.
And the trade-in is about 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's my issue. Is trade-ins, you're not going to get high dollar for this, and so the closer we can get to the amount of loan that you owe, the better. So, how much money do you have in the bank right now?
I currently have $1,000 about, or something like that, but that's all set aside for expenses and stuff.
And what is your income?
It's about $40,000, so about $4,000 a month.
Oof! You bought a lot of car for making $40,000.
Yeah, I bought it when I was making less, so.
Whew. Yeah, we need to get rid of this thing, but you're going to need to come up with the difference that you're underwater on. So you've got 2 options to do this. One is you can go to your credit union or go to the place that holds the loan and say, listen, you got some bad collateral here because this thing's worth $9,000, I owe $20,000. Can you give me an $11,000 loan to make up for the difference, and I get rid of this car? Now, obviously, you need another car, so you probably need to save up a few $1,000s before you do this. The other option is you go out and save up $6,000, $7,000 to cover the difference yourself with cash, which is a great option, but it may take a little while as you continue chipping away. But there's no fun way to do this. Either way, this car has got to go. I would not hang on to it.
All right.
Sorry for the bad news, Alexander, but those are your 2 options. So I would try to get that personal loan to at least eliminate some of this debt and get out of this underwater car. But either way, it's going to involve some sacrifice, and it's an expensive lesson to learn. But man, car loans are killing people with these underwater situations, Alexander. Hate to hear that you're going through it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, Ramsey Solutions started small and grew fast. Because of that rapid growth, there were times when our systems slowed us down. That's why we switched to NetSuite. It works for us and it'll help your business too. Whether you're starting on a card table like I did, or you're well on your way to becoming a multi-million-dollar company, NetSuite can scale with you and help you communicate and plan better. Because you know your day-to-day up and down and sideways, but accounting, analytics, and supply chain are on another level. So maybe you're just not tech savvy. That can be okay. NetSuite will help at your speed and whatever your situation. More than 37,000 companies use NetSuite to know their numbers and their business better. So check out NetSuite today and find out how they can help you become the business you want to be 5 or 30 years from now. And right now, you can download NetSuite's free KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman. Hey, if you enjoy the show, we'd love if you do us a favor and share it. Subscribe wherever you're listening, hit the follow button, leave us a review, and just tell people about it. Maybe that's a text, maybe you hit the little share button, and send a link to a certain episode or clip that you loved, but you guys are the best marketing plan we could ask for, and it's one of the reasons we hit number 1 out of all podcasts on Apple Podcasts earlier.
The fact that my mom figured out a way to hack the system and clicked on the thumb a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Barb.
I need to ask Barb how she accomplished that.
I don't know. She wanted her boy to hit the big time. So
just her and May Camel, just really hitting that like and subscribe button.
How is it that Barb and May have not met?
They need to. They'd get along.
They really would.
Mellifluously.
Is that a word?
Is it ever?
Mellifluously?
You're welcome. No, mellifluously.
Mellifluously.
Yeah.
Boy, I got to tell you, you've been working hard because I don't ever remember you pulling a word out.
If I can teach an old dog a new vocabulary word, I'm doing something right.
All right, I'm going to look that up on the commercial break. But Jordan awaits. Or what are we doing right now? Are we doing do we have a little 401k?
Yeah, I have a little teaching segment.
I'm getting excited right now. Oh, I apologize, George. Teach away.
Don't jump the gun here. So here's the deal, Ken. We get this question a lot, and I wanted to address it because a lot of people are going through this right now. They're leaving jobs. We've seen a huge migration of just people moving around, switching jobs.
What do I do with my 401k?
What do I do with the 401k?
That I left behind?
Yes.
Oh, this is a big question.
So it's a big one, and it's an important one that has a lot of zeros on the end. So I want to walk people through the thought process when it comes to rolling over the 401k. So, of course, you have a bunch of options. Number 1 is cash out your 401k, which is a terrible idea because you're going to pay taxes and penalties if you're not of retirement age. The other option is do nothing and leave the money in your old 401k. Also a terrible idea, probably in second place in the terrible idea list. The other 2 options are you can roll over the money into your new employer's plan. So if you have an old 401k, you got a new job, you can roll it directly into the new employer's 401k. And then finally, the last and probably my favorite option is you can do a rollover into an IRA, which is outside of an employer. And so I like that one the best, Ken, because it gives you the most control over your investing options. Yep. The IRA basically has unlimited options, whereas your 401k has a fewer, more select options.
All right, so let's play this out. Excuse me. I leave company ABC, and I have a 401k there. And so I take a job with another company, and they've got a 401k plan. I'm going to go to my SmartVestor Pro, the person who handles my retirement. I'm going to say, all right, I need to take my old 401k. I need to roll that over into an IRA, and I'm going to jump right in immediately with the new 401k.
Yeah.
And so that 401k from the previous company is going to grow. You're just not contributing to it, but it's going to sit in that amount in the IRA. Or can you choose to contribute to it in the IRA form?
So that's called a rollover IRA.
Right.
And so that is an option where that money continues to grow. You can continue to contribute. And so that is a solid option because of the amount of control you have over your investments. And I like that one the best because as a bucket, when you think about your retirement plan, it's good to have different buckets.
Right.
And here's the big thing though, people don't think about. If you had a traditional 401k plan and you decide, hey, I'm going to do a rollover to a Roth IRA, you don't want to do that because there's going to be a Roth conversion that you pay.
That's right.
And the only time you should do that is when you're in baby step 7. You have a paid-for house. Now this is extra money you have laying around,
right.
And you can pay the tax burden to basically convert that to tax-free money.
There's no purpose in taking a 401k and putting it in a Roth because you're going to pay a tax. And that's the whole purpose of having a Roth is to get it out later with no tax.
You want that money to grow tax-free.
Exactly.
And so there's a time and place to do that, but you're going to pay a hefty fee in order to do that.
And that's why we do the IRA.
You want to do a direct rollover. So let's say you have a traditional 401k. You want to do a direct rollover to a traditional IRA.
Right.
If you have a Roth 401k, you can do a direct rollover to a Roth IRA. So you want to keep them equally yoked, if you will.
I like
to keep it biblical for you, Ken. I know you like that reference.
Thank you. Thank you for the reference.
So if you've got the old one, it's time. And you got to do something. Don't just leave it sitting out there. You don't have control over it. The fees are now eating up what was left of your nest egg there. So do something. Roll it over to the new employer or roll it over direct.
Roll it.
Direct is what you want. Not indirect, Ken. Direct.
Yeah,
to
direct.
Avoid any fees.
Equally yoked.
You don't want to see that money.
Yeah.
That's the important part. So if you have questions about this, you can, of course, ask your employer and HR department, but you can also get an investment pro in your corner. And if you go to RamseySolutions.com, our SmartVestor program can get you in touch with someone who can help you with this rollover process. That's something I did, Ken, when I worked at Ramsey. I had an old 401k from my Apple retail days. And so they helped me roll that over into an IRA, and that money's been growing ever since. From a Roth 401k, direct rollover, Roth IRA.
I love it.
And it's been growing with my control. So
I love it. No reference to my roll, nothing.
I didn't want to acknowledge it, to be honest.
Why?
Was that an old Walmart ad?
No, it's not an old Walmart ad. It's just Is it an old Walmart?
Keep those prices
No,
rolling.
I heard a
Limp
Limp Bizkit reference.
It's not Limp Bizkit. Joe knows. It's an old song. Rawhide, like
Rawhide?
a Western. It was a Western rawhide. Yeah, like an old. I mean, George, you wouldn't know what it is because you don't even know who John Wayne is, but I digress.
Yeah. No, it is Rawhide by Frankie
Limp
Lane.
Bizkit and Rawhide.
We just went
all
the whole
guesses.
range there, but that's what I do. I like to create good conversation over absolutely nothing.
I think that tells you the zeitgeist that we were born into, Ken. You're mentioning songs from 1961, and I'm thinking of
did
an
you
old...
pull it up?
Yeah.
Well, give them the full reference now. People want to know.
Rawhide by Frankie Lane.
Rawhide by Frankie Lane.
Released in 1961.
You're smarter now. You're smarter. I don't care if you like it or not, but let's help Jordan out.
Can you admit your references are a bit dated?
Well, there's no question they're dated, but that's the spice that I bring to the show. You and Rachel don't know about anything since like 2000.
Sorry.
We don't know what Deloney knows. What's going on inside his head is just it's dangerous.
You don't want
so I got to bring a little bit of culture, a little bit of knowledge.
I bring some vocab, you bring some culture, and we meet in the middle.
Listen,
I love it.
Nobody's complaining about the Rawhide reference. Plus, I think people want to hear me sing more.
Oh, gosh.
I could be wrong about that one.
Nope, we want to hear from Jordan in Missoula. Love that place. Jordan, what's going on?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure. What's going on?
First of all, I enjoy the banter between you both. It's pretty comical to listen
James,
to.
people like
it. James. James is always honest about the banter, and Jordan likes it. So there you go. Well, Jordan, we like you.
Well, thank you so much. So my question is, I've been following, the baby step stuff for quite a while, and I'm considering upgrading my truck. My question is, should I just cool my jets and be patient and content with what I have, or, based on where I'm at financially, is it reasonable for me to consider an upgrade? Just a quick background. No debt other than my mortgage. My house is worth roughly $450K, and we owe $180 on it. 15-year fixed rate mortgage. I make $120K a year gross, and my wife's a stay-at-home mom. Our other vehicle is a paid-for Honda Pilot that's worth roughly $30, and I would consider spending $30 on this new truck. My current truck is 20 years old. I can maybe get 10 grand for it. It's starting to show a little bit of signs of breaking down. So considering just keeping that thing until it just completely dies, or maybe splurging and getting something a little nicer.
So we're talking 20K. We'll get you
20K.
This truck. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm doing it today.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah. Well, listen, first of all, you did a really good job of laying out the facts. Every Ramsey Show caller should study your model. That was fantastic. You laid it out perfectly. You got the money. You got the value.
You've lived like no one else. And so now you went from intense to intentional in baby steps 4, 5, 6. You've got this mortgage you're chipping away at diligently. But it's okay at that point to go on the vacations and splurge and upgrade the car. You're doing it with cash, and you're right there in our parameter where the total of all things with motors and wheels adds up to half of your annual income. So between the Pilot and this truck you're getting, you're right there at about half of that 120 at 60. And so you're doing it the right way, Jordan. What kind of truck is it? What is it?
So I probably would get a Toyota Tundra. I'm not totally sure. Still in the researching phase. I like to nerd out and look up a bunch of stuff.
I just rode in Winston Cruz's Toyota Tundra.
Oh, you did?
Let me tell you, Ken.
Name dropping.
I think I'm a truck guy now. So way to go, Jordan. Love that for you. You're doing it the right way, man. Living like no one else, and now driving like no one else.
Yeah.
Paying cash, selling the other truck. It's going to be a 20K gap. He's got the money. This is what we like to see, America. Smart decisions.
Very exciting. Nice new truck.
And we're off the air.
Hey, folks, you know that sinking feeling When you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate. Plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Up next, we've got Bill in New Haven, Connecticut. Bill, how's it going?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
My wife and I are in a very difficult situation. I'm 71. I'll be 72 next month. My wife is 66. She teaches at a private school. We moved from a state where the salaries are considerably lower than they are here in Connecticut, and the cost of living is not a whole lot different. And this past summer, in the heat of the summer, for Connecticut, our air conditioning went out completely, and it's going to cost us almost $14,500 to get a new furnace and everything to replace the one that went out, and it's going to. They have a state program here. I can finance. It'll be almost be about a $175 a month for 10 years. Additionally, my wife took out a parent loan for our daughter to go to college. I was adamantly opposed to it, but her philosophy is she's my baby and I love her, so I'm going to do it. And due to being in forbearance twice, once due to getting sick and having to take off work during the school year in the other state, and then moving up here to Connecticut, she went into forbearance each of those two times. And what that means is that you don't have to make a payment, but the interest accrues.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, she still owes over $100,000 on that. Our daughter went to a private school in New York. And it's like I've been fighting a losing battle financially all these years. And I'm 71 now. I'll be 72 next month. And I have to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
I took an early retirement a few years ago, but all I'm getting is a small Social Security check because my salaries were always low. I have a small Army Reserve retirement. Thank goodness I stayed in that for over 20 years. And then I have a very, very small state retirement from our most recent state. I worked for the state retirement system for a few years.
So
and,
what does the household income add up to right now?
Our total income, our AGI is less than 100,000.
Okay.
Including everything. And my wife is 66, and she would like to start receiving Social Security when she can get the maximum dollar amount, and I would like her to do that too. But she's talking about starting to receive Social Security as soon as she can, which I believe is about another 6 months or so, something like that. And it would be considerably less. And she teaches at a private school now. She's happy there. The salaries at private schools are very low. But she says at her age, if she were to get a Connecticut teaching certificate, nobody would hire her because who wants a 66-year-old woman?
I don't buy that one.
Well, that's what she says. And plus, she loves where she is now. She was in a miserable teaching situation in the previous state. That's why she went on sick leave, because the superintendent drove her to that, to make a long story short. And then we moved up here. And so due to those two situations is why she went on the forbearance, because we did not have any money coming in to make the payments. Now I'm looking at going back to work, whether it's full-time or part-time, preferably full-time, because like I said, I need the money.
Well, how much do you guys have that's liquid? Liquid cash?
Oh, nothing. We have bills up to our eyeballs.
You have more debt than the Parent Plus loans and this 14.5 HVAC?
Yes.
What else?
Yes. Credit cards, of course. And it's about $70,000.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, I know. It's horrifying, and I'm.
Is your wife concerned about this, or is it just you?
Absolutely. Yes, both of us are concerned.
And what other debt?
Well, the house.
What's left on the mortgage?
Oh, gee. Probably about 200 and something thousand.
Okay.
What's the house worth?
I don't know. We're not sure about that. It's about.
What'd you buy it for?
I'm trying to remember. We bought it for $300,000 and something.
Okay.
Now, like I said, I'm looking at going back to work, and I know that some of the places I've come across mention in their ads that they offer 401ks. Some mention that they offer 401ks with a match. Some do not mention a 401k at all. Now, my understanding is that you have to begin withdrawing from a 401k at a certain age. And I'm wondering if at my age, would I even be allowed to put money into a 401k? And if I did, what would I do? Put the money in the 401k and get the employer's match, and then start withdrawing the 401k?
Well, truthfully, Bill,
bills?
I don't want to be their bearer of bad news, but we got a ways to go before we would even begin investing. So we wouldn't recommend you do any investing until you clean up this mess.
Even with the employer match.
Even with the employer match. You guys are so underwater on payments, you don't have a dime to invest.
You're exactly right.
So we need to clean up this debt. And so I'm going to start with the smallest balance to largest. I'm going to try to. Can your daughter make the payment on these student loans?
She won't do it.
Why?
She says it's the parent's responsibility to pay for the child's education. I paid for all of my education.
Who taught her that? Mom?
How did you guess?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, okay, so, Bill, here's the reality.
You've been catered to her whole life.
Well, this is as much a marital problem as much as financial. You've got some resentment towards your spouse.
Yeah, you got a marriage issue. And George and I can't solve the marriage issue. Unfortunately, the marriage issue has created a mountain of money issues. And Bill, look, here's the bottom line. We teach the baby steps for a reason, whether you're 71, 51, or 31. And right now, what you have to do is $1,000 as an emergency fund. And unfortunately, you had a massive emergency in the form of an HVAC system. You got to take care of that, George. That's a tough situation. You can't use credit cards to do that. But you guys are going to have to scramble and work, and it's time for you and Mom to have a conversation with the daughter, and it's time for her to grow up. That's going to be a difficult conversation. If your wife is as concerned as you said she is, then it's time for her to have some hard conversations. This is a mess.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at $200,000 outside of the mortgage that you guys owe if you're taking on these Parent Plus loans while making $90,000. And you're already almost 72, Bill. And so we've got to make some big decisions. You got to go make $25 an hour at least, 40 hours a week to help. But you need your wife on the same page first. You're not going to make any progress when you're trying to do this on your own. And you need to have that hard conversation with your daughter and say, listen, Mom and Dad are broke. And unless you want to be taking care of us for the next 20 years, we need to clean up our mess, and you need to clean up these student loans. But again, the legal responsibility is on you guys, which is the worst part about these Parent Plus loans, Ken. High interest rates, forbearance, the kid doesn't pay, it's on the parents, and Thanksgiving dinner's real awkward. Bill, I'm so sorry you're going through this, man. I hope that you can clean this up and one day retire again, but this time the right way, with some dignity, with some peace, with some patience, and with a pile of money. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. The number to call is 888-825-5225. You call in, we'll talk about your money, your work, and your life. We'll help you take the right next step. Daniel is in Raleigh. Welcome to the show, Daniel. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm a big fan.
We appreciate that. What's your question today?
Of course. So I'm 18. I'm a freshman at UNC, and I'm studying business and entrepreneurship.
Cool.
I own my own business, and I've been having difficulties being able to do a good job both running my business and also doing a good job in school.
What's your business?
We are an event entertainment company. We specialize in balloon animals and face paint.
Cool. Are we talking like kids' birthday parties, carnivals? Like, what are your main gigs?
We do some kids' birthday parties. We do lots of festivals, restaurant work. We work with some of the sports teams in North Carolina, like the Panthers and the Hornets.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And how successful has this business been, and how much time are you putting into it?
It's been pretty successful. I started it when I was 12, and for 5 years I was practicing and getting to be the best balloon twister I could. And I've hired up a team to help me run this while I'm in college. Last year in 2022, we only made $2,200, but this past year we were able to make over $25,000.
Great. And that's net profit?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. And you're saying, hey, this is a lot for me to run while I'm in college?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And how many classes are you taking? Like, how many hours are you devoting to school, and how much free time do you have right now?
I'm devoting about probably 30 to 40 hours to school, and another 30 hours to my business. And it's just kind of a lot while I'm also trying to be social and have a good time in college.
So the question I have is this a long-term business play for you, or is this something you kind of started, it's throwing off the cash and you kind of enjoy it? I mean, what's the strategy here with this business as it is today?
Mm-hmm. I'm enamored with what I do. I love making balloons for a living. It's a lot of fun. I want to do it for life. This is a business I want to own and grow to hopefully be a national change someday. And we've been growing really well this year and last year, and this is what I want to do with my life. And I'm going to school for a chance to learn how to better grow my business while also getting to have fun while getting an education.
Well, so you mentioned three things. You've got school, you've got the business, and you've got a social life. It doesn't sound like you can do all three of those to the level that you want. So you've got to start going, okay, let me reverse engineer this. What's most important long term? And that's going to determine what's most important in the short term. And I'm not trying to be coy with the answer, but it's like, okay, maybe I don't take as many classes. I can still pursue the degree. I'm not in any way telling you to drop out of college, but I'm saying something's got to give.
Or you do less gigs with the business.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Or you're less involved.
That's right. The business stays where it is for now, meaning it doesn't grow until you have more time to give to it. Something has to give way here.
That's true.
Can you delegate more to the team?
I can. I've hired up a manager that will start. I'm training him in sales right now, and that's a big thing I've been dealing with is sales for the business and taking the sales calls. And hopefully, I'll have more time to focus on other things, whether that's higher leverage opportunities for our business or more time towards school. I'm not sure yet.
What is the thing that you're most valuable in the business right now? You just mentioned one aspect. You've been doing sales. But what's the thing that only you can do right now?
Right now it's sales, but hopefully soon it won't be. I'd say I have a lot of the strategy for the business. I'm the one that makes the instructional videos on how to learn balloon twisting since we train our own balloon twisters. So just, I guess, HR and growing the team as well as finding the customers and making the right decisions to get customer leads.
Okay. And who's paying for school right now?
Right now, my parents are. They're paying for the first year or two. And I will be able, I won't have issues paying for school afterwards either.
So you have no debt and you have a pile of money in the bank and you're also putting money away that you're making from the business?
Yes, sir. I save almost all of my income.
Incredible. Because that's an important piece of this equation is not going into debt. I want to see you finish school if that's a goal for you to get this degree that will help you flourish in business. And it sounds like you want to do this long-term, full-time as soon as you're out of school.
Yeah.
So this is a temporary, you got what, 3 more years or are you in the first year?
I'm in my first year. I'm a freshman, yes.
So the other question is, how do we expedite college? Can you take on more credits and just crush through this so you're 21 years old graduating to pursue this business?
That's
that
true.
Might mean you slow down in order to speed up. And so that might mean delegating. It might mean the business just doesn't go for a season. And that you got to be okay with that because you're doing a lot at once right now. And I don't want to see your grades suffer while the business suffers and you end up not making progress on either.
That's true. That's a good point. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'd sit down with the folks that you have, see what kind of hires you need to make while making this business sustainable because you don't want to eat into all the profits trying to just keep this business afloat to where it's not really accomplishing anything for you.
Yes, sir.
So that's some big decisions to make at your age. I'm proud of you, man. You've done really well.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Best of luck with the future. Anything else we can help with?
Yeah. So I've been following you guys' baby steps, and I'm now on baby step 5. And I mean, I'm 18 years old. I don't have a wife or kids, and I don't even have a girlfriend. So it feels a little premature to start saving for my child's college fund. What would you recommend doing once I make it to baby step 5 and I'm not sure how to move forward?
I would focus on a home down payment fund, and that might just be a general high yield savings account, and you put every extra dollar you can into that high yield savings account, and it's sitting there making you 4 to 5%. The other thing you could do is open up a Roth IRA and contribute to that and max one out for the year based on your stage and based on the fact that you told me you're going to graduate debt free. So I think both of those are wise for your future goals. Because when you graduate, adulthood is going to hit you like a ton of bricks with bills, and you're going to want to do stuff and buy a home one day. And so to be ahead of the game with no debt and a pile of money in the bank, dude, you're going to be light years ahead of your peers.
That's the plan. Thank you. Right now I have about half of my money saved in a high yield savings account and half of my money saved in the stock market, specifically with VU and RSP. How do I know how to allocate money to reinvest in my business versus allocate money for the stock market? How do I know where I should be investing more of my money?
Well, I would look at, what the last year of business expenses has looked for you, what's coming up in the next year for, hiring, and we got to upgrade our equipment. And so that's the amount of money I'd be starting kind of a sinking fund and reserves for. But outside of that, you've got the money set aside in your savings account. And so if worse came to worse, you could kind of rob Peter to pay Paul in a sense to cover any business expense. But if you're running this thing debt free and you've got some money to cover those equipment expenses, rentals, whatever your needs are, you're in great shape as far as the business. And so unless it's making a new hire, which hopefully they're going to produce enough revenue to offset what they cost you. So that's going to be the goal running this business. I'm going to send you a copy of Dave's book, Entree Leadership, as well. Daniel, that's our playbook for how Dave built this thing from a card table in his living room to the Ramsey empire with over 1,000 team members in this amazing campus, and I think it will encourage you along the way as you're actually hiring people at 18 years old. I mean, what an impressive kid. This is an adult, and his parents did a great job raising him well.
He's asking the right questions. Yeah, I mean, certainly at 18, looking long-term like this and having to make these kind of tough decisions, very entrepreneurial. You love seeing that in this generation, and really interesting to see. And, you know, I never want to push anybody to drop out of college, but at some point, what business training do you need versus a true 4-year degree? Maybe even
Learning
looking
in the
at more
trenches.
business classes, business training, small business things like that. That's what I'd be looking at.
And Daniel, if you ever come by Ramsey Solutions, I'd love to twist me a little camel balloon. I think that'd be fun. What do you think, Ken?
I would actually love to see that.
That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman, and we are your hosts this hour. The number to call is 888-825-5225. If you've got a question about money, work, purpose, your career, the job you feel stuck in, we are here to help you take the next step. 888-825-5225. Adam kicks us off in Miami. Adam, what is going on in Miami?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, so I actually found out today, so this is kind of the reason for my call. I found out today that I owe $31,000 in student debt, and I know that sounds a little crazy, but the reason is because I had, I guess, two loans, I guess. One was a Parent Plus, and that was taken care of by, that was forgiven because of a GI Bill. And my family is a little bit dysfunctional, and kind of every time I brought it up, I would see in my credit report this $31,000, and it was actually 27 before, but interest. And it was just told that, it was taken care of. Don't worry about it. It's wrong. It'll be updated. It was discharged. And so I just kind of did a research today and found out that it's totally separate and it's in my name. So, I have to take care of it. So basically it's, student loans spread, it's about $31,000 spread across 9 loans, throughout the 4 years. So I was just considering consolidating it. I just wanted to, kind of I don't really know where to start. So I was just hoping to get some advice on how to attack it.
Well, it's a rude awakening for sure, and I'm sure very frustrating, and not causing any repair with the relationship with your family that told you, hey, don't worry about it. We've got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
I was saving up for a car, so.
So where are you at now? Do you have any other debt?
No.
Okay. And how much money do you have in the bank?
In investments in a Roth IRA, about 10, and then in stocks, about 10, and about 2 or 3. It's sitting in the bank account.
Okay, great. So what's your income?
So my base is about 75. I started a new job recently. Could potentially be. It's hard to speculate, but could potentially be well over 100.
Wonderful. Okay, so the good news in this mess is that you're going to be done with this debt. My guess is within 6 months.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to hear it. How so? Should I consolidate it? Is that something across those? It's 9 loans ranging from 2 to 7,000.
Yeah, I was in a very similar position to you. When I was 23, I pulled my credit report, realized I had $36,000 in student loans across about 11 loans. And the way I did it is the way I'm going to recommend to you. And that is to not consolidate these debts, because all you're doing is just moving the debt around into one big pile instead of tiny piles. So you didn't really do anything. You just have the illusion that you did something. So instead, what I would do is just attack the smallest one with a vengeance. And I would also, and this is also something I did, I would sell those stocks that you have.
Yeah.
That's not retirement, right? You just invested in a bunch of stocks and it's at 10K?
Yeah, well, it's an Acorns account that I used.
Okay. So I would liquidate that, and I would move away from single stocks anyways. And instead, once you're debt-free with an emergency fund, then I would begin to invest 15% into tax-advantaged retirement accounts. And I would quit. I wouldn't use the Acorns app if I'm in your shoes.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to give you a better long-term future, and it's going to get you out of debt the fastest. Because you told me you've got, $2,000 plus the $10,000 in stocks. The rest is retirement accounts in the investments?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So you've almost knocked out, you've knocked out a third or almost a half of your student loans just by doing this. So that leaves you with 19,000 left. You're going to make 100. So the question is, how quickly can we pay off 19, making 100? How much margin can we throw at these debts from smallest to largest balance, ignoring the interest rate?
Yeah, that's definitely something I'll have to figure out. But I definitely don't want to, not have anything in the bank.
Well, you'll have $1,000 you'll leave as a starter emergency fund. And then for 6 months, what you're going to do is try to throw $3,000 a month toward your smallest debts and make minimum payments on the rest.
Okay.
So 3,000 times 6, 18, which is about what you'll have after you sell the stocks, put a little bit of the money you have in savings, and put that all towards your debts. That's going to knock out almost half your student loans. You tracking?
Yeah.
So you're going to free up payments.
For sure.
That payment gets rolled into the next debt along with all the margin you're mustering up from your income. And I'm telling you, man, you could be in a very different place 6 months from now. And 6 months after that, you're going to save up a fully funded emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses.
You wouldn't suggest at all, like going with, monthly payments or anything like that?
Monthly payments on what?
Like, well, I guess, never mind. I was just thinking consolidating and turning into monthly payments, but that's not the right call, so.
Well, it doesn't move you forward. I'm trying to help you move forward and get rid of this debt instead of just move it and go, well, I've made it into one big payment because I can't keep up with 9. Instead, I found that it was much more motivating for me to see each debt get knocked out one by one, freeing up a payment, applying it to the next one and the next one. And with doing this plan, I'm telling you, 12 months from now, you're debt-free with a fully funded emergency fund, and you're investing 15% of your income in retirement. If you do it your way, you're going to be calling back a year from now. Interest growing.
I gotta jump in here, Adam. I know you understand what George said, but after he explained it really clearly, and you said you understood it, you jumped right back into the consolidation thing. It leads me to believe that you've got some people that are pretty influential in your life that are pitching you on this, and while you understand what George is saying, I'm not sure you believe it yet. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're wrong. I honestly don't really have anyone to go to for financial advice.
Okay, good. So listen, do you believe then? So I'm glad I'm wrong, but do you believe that you can do what George is saying?
Yeah, I do. I believe it's going to be very tough, but that's very possible.
All right.
Dude, I did not make 100K.
Yeah.
I was making a starter salary, and I had more debt than you. And I did this in 18 months with some hustle. I was doing side hustles. So you got to be willing to sacrifice. And you can do this in 6 months, in a third of the time, with this amazing income and with these stocks you're going to sell.
That's right.
And so you got to quit getting distracted. That's what's happening here. You're doing a lot of things at once. And you have an amazing income, and your greatest wealth-building tool is your income. And right now, it's being siphoned away from student loans and your stress and distracted by Acorns micro-investing apps. And I talk about these investing traps in the book, and I specifically call out ones like Acorns because I think these apps are designed to take your money, not make you money.
I would like to give the first book of yours that I've given away right now.
What an honor.
Breaking Free from Broke. It's your gift, Adam. I'm giving it to you, but George did all the work. See how I did that?
I like that.
Hang on the line. Austin will get you a copy of that because, George, you really do a great job of explaining the game that people are in. It's kind of like you're breaking down the matrix in this book.
Yes.
The financial matrix.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah. And I hope it helps Adam break free from broke because he's a wise young man making good money, and I want to see that money help him build wealth instead of big towers in the sky for Sally Mae. So hang on the line, Adam. We'll send you a copy of Breaking Free from Broke and wishing you the best with debt payoff. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Well, let's get to the lines. Lisa joins us up next in my hometown, Boston, Massachusetts. Lisa, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity to discuss and get your insights on this. So,
absolutely.
I'm single. I was recently laid off. I'm collecting severance for about the next 15 months. I currently rent. As you know, my rent continues to go nowhere but up. And I'm at a pivotal time in my life where I'm actually thinking about relocating to an area where I can afford to purchase a home for around a price that will keep my mortgage even lower than my rent. And I was looking for some insight and advice on that.
Okay. So what job did you get laid off from? What were you doing?
I was in media for a long time. I was fortunate, they owe me nothing. I was there 25 great years, but it's a little bit scary now because I'm a little older in age, and I'm not really sure if I even want to do the big corporate job anymore. I really would rather do something more purpose and volunteerism, and I really can't see me having that luxury if I continue to chase rent. So I was thinking about relocating, purchasing a home. I can't, as you know, right, can't get a house anywhere near Boston for $325,000, but I can if I relocate. And I was actually toying with, although this is where I'm looking for your insight, over like about 4 years, just purchasing my home outright. So in like 4 years' time, I have no debt. And at that point, I could afford to live on, my pension and my Social Security and my remaining 401k that I don't touch for my home.
Okay, so where are you thinking about moving to?
Florida.
Oh, all right. There you go.
Yeah, big change. Yeah, but I love the sun. I'm not a cold person, not a skier. I've always stayed here for my family, but I'm at a point now where, it's not a good enough reason to keep me grounded. I can continue to come home and visit family. They'll come to me. So I just think, this maybe is serving as a catalyst for me to do something, put my big girl pants on, which I never would have done before, and, take that chance and move and purchase a home.
I like about a lot of what I'm hearing. I am just curious why you wouldn't continue to work. You've got a lot of experience.
I'm not saying I won't. I think I don't want the pressure of having to go out and get what I had, right?
That's fine.
I'm trying to be a realist.
What did you have?
So,
tell me a little bit more. Like, what were you doing and what were you making?
I was making about $140,000 a year. I was in media.
What?
Sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you say you don't want to go out and feel the pressure to get a sales job making 140, is that what you mean?
Yeah. And I also have some health things I might be facing that I might have to take a little bit of time for myself.
Okay,
I was recently diagnosed with, an issue that has to be addressed, nothing life-changing, but might need to take a little bit of downtime for myself.
Sure.
So, because of those factors, I'm just trying to think, well, what can I do to get myself where I feel in a better situation that I don't have to make this money? And, I have, I guess it's all relative in life. I think I have a pretty good, retirement strategy and savings in my 401k and liquid savings. I don't have a lot of debt, but I also don't, I've been so disciplined and worked so hard. I don't want to, because I'm now suddenly faced with like a health thing and losing my job, that I panic and make a really bad choice. So that's why I was calling into, to you gentlemen, because, I'm a big fan of the show.
You mentioned you have debt.
I have one debt. I have a car payment, which I can easily pay off. I just haven't because I was working at 4%
What's left on the loan?
I was like, $17,000.
Okay. And how much money do you have in savings?
I have about $800,000 in a 401k, $100,000 in liquid savings, and then I have like a lump sum, for lack of better words, that I can take out as a pension, or I can roll over to a 401k that's a lump sum amount as well.
Okay, great. Well, Lisa, I'm going to answer this as if I was in your shoes. How old are you?
58.
Okay. If I'm in your shoes and I really wanted to move to Florida, I would, number one, take some of this liquid savings and pay off the car loan today.
Okay.
Now you're debt free. It's going to free up a payment. And then, here's the crazy part, I would go rent in Florida for a little while until I figured out what was next. And I would personally be looking for a job so that I'm able to pay off this house. Once I had the house paid off and I had enough in retirement, then I would go, all right, Lisa's out, and she's going to maybe have an early retirement or an encore career. But I wouldn't just, pack it up and go to the, the 50s living community in Florida. And
Margaritaville.
I keep thinking of the Seinfelds.
Something though, doesn't it?
That's actually actually like a neighborhood in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
They're all over the country.
They actually look amazing.
It is.
Well, for that
I've been going to this area for a while, guys, and I do love the area, and I have friends there, so it's not a knee-jerk reaction from that perspective. But
Can
it's
you rent?
more of a. Excuse me?
Can you rent over there for a little while?
The rent will be high. And the market's kind of going up. My friends bought 2 years ago, and their house doubled. I'm almost a little pressured where I feel like I know I can still go buy a nice house for $325.
So you would buy a house for $325, and your down payment would be the rest of your liquid cash outside of an emergency fund?
I'm thinking of not doing that. I'm thinking about just putting 10% down, and then over 4 years withdraw the money from my 401k and pay it off outright.
But you're going to be unemployed, and we need to pay a mortgage now. That's $300,000.
But I've already been pre-approved because of my severances and my 401k. They do a continuance program where I can guarantee that I can pay it.
But what happens when the severance is over?
The severance is 16 months, and I'm sure I'll have a job by then. It's no different than if I'm here renting and strapped down. I guess where I'm going with this, guys, is I know if I own a home and I get a job making half my money, I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay $75,000 a year and just get rid of this in its entirety. Now all I have is my food and utility bills. I can never say that if I rent.
We get where you're going. I don't think we like how you're trying to get there. In fact, I know we don't like how you're trying to get there, but love where you want to go. I mean, if you've got friends down there and you could roommate up, for 6 months and do a short-term lease, get on the ground. I know you visited a bunch, or put the rest of the. What are you going to have left after the car payment? 17. You're going to have about 83,000. To put down,
about 83,000.
Well, look, that's 20% down. On a
65 is that much. You can leave the rest as an emergency fund. I would put as much down as possible.
I would to put it all down, but you easily have the 20% that we like to recommend.
Yeah, it'll help you avoid PMI
and get a job.
I'm willing to do that.
Good.
And
take
I'm willing
a couple
to do
months.
the 20%. Okay.
Here's what I would do. I'm going to add to what George said. I would take a couple months.
Okay.
Chill out, right? Take care of your health issue. You're going to be okay. I'd take 2 months max. Get down there, get the girlfriends, have some fun times, throw the margs back a couple nights, but we're now looking for a job down there. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get employed. We're not going to use that severance to live off of. I would be stacking that severance. If it were me, I'd be trying to only use a couple months of that severance, George, get employed down there, and take the rest of that severance and plug it into the baby steps.
Yeah, well, Lisa, you told us you don't want to be pressured into getting back into a sales job. Well, you're going to feel pressure when the severance is running out and you haven't found that dream yet. So I'm going to start searching ASAP and land that to give you some cushion. And I want you to take as small of a mortgage as possible because the goal is to pay it off as quickly as possible. And it's going to reduce your mortgage payment down. The more you put down, the smaller the payment.
That's right.
Less pressure you have to go out and make $140,000.
And I don't think it'll be a pressure situation with your personality, your sales experience. You could crush it down there.
Lisa sold us on this dream.
I know.
She's got the sales skills.
George and I are going to come down and visit. It's going to be great.
Oh, Kenny Boy and me in Margaritaville?
Margaritaville. It's going to be great. We'll hang out with the 50-somethings.
What's that drink you like, the Gumby Slumber?
The Gumby Slumber.
That's a Ken Coleman favorite right there.
Fantastic. Look it up.
She'll have one ready for you. Lisa, we're wishing you the best with this next chapter of your life and, of course, wishing you the best with these health issues. Hope you get them taken care of, and we'll see you in Florida. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Hayden's up next in Dallas, Texas. Hayden, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So my question is, I'm 18 years old. I'm still a senior in high school, and I've figured out relatively before my senior year started that I want to be a large animal vet, and I know that it's going to be very pricey, and I don't have any money saved up for college besides what I'm going to get for showing my barrows, which would be about like maybe $8,000, and I have no idea how to go about scholarships or anything like that.
What's the price range? I'm assuming there are more than a handful. How many schools would train you in that? And then what's the range of price on that? Are they all pretty similar?
So the route that I was going to go is I'm just going to go to my local college in my county and get my basics and go over to Commerce, which is around, I think when I calculated it was $20,000 a year, I think it was.
Okay, so we need to be super crystal clear on that, and then you need to do a lot of research to go how many large vet schools are in the country and what are my options there, because $20,000 a year, how long is the program? Let's just say it's $20,000. You need to be really sure on what that number is, first of all, but how many years are we talking about? 20,000 times what?
So that's just the animal science, and that would be 4 years.
So we're talking 80,000, then what?
It's either 2 or 4 years for pre-vet, which I can either go to A&M, OSU, or Texas Tech to do.
Why are those the only three options?
Because those are the only ones near me that I'm comfortable driving to that has a vet license program. So.
Okay, so let's keep adding this up because it's important to what we're going to walk through with you. So
2 or 4 years, how much is that?
How much is that?
For what was it?
The second one. I don't know what the first one was, something about animals, and the second one was pre-vet.
This pre-vet. How much is that going to cost?
Pre-vet, if I take it at A&M Commerce, it'd be, I think, $20,000 as well. I can also
total or per year?
Per year.
Okay, so you're talking 40 to 80K on top of that.
Goodness gracious sakes.
And then you have actual vet school?
Yes, you have to go through a license.
How many years and how much? We're playing the same game here.
Mm-hmm.
How many years, how much?
Let me look it up real fast because I've not looked up that aspect of it. So if I get accepted...
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope. It's very hard to get accepted.
All right, I'll tell you what, just for our listeners' sake.
It's like an accountant getting the taxes done.
I don't even care what the number is. It's crazy.
Yes, it is. It's $22,000 a year.
Okay.
For how many years? Another 4 years?
We're not sure. 2 to 4.
I think it's 2 for just the vet license.
All right.
Pre-vet, you can take a 2-year or a 4-year.
All right. So what are you wrestling through? How can we help specifically? Because we're not going to tell you to take a loan out for that. That's insane. If you just play the numbers out and you look at what you would make your first year out, your second year out, what your path to growth is, and you run the numbers on an interest rate and what you're going to be paying back, you're going to find out pretty quickly it's really not worth it. But most young people, because we don't teach you in our culture to actually run the numbers and think about what it's actually going to look like when you get out, you've been told your whole life that this is the price of entry. And it is the price of entry, no question, but it doesn't have to be loaned. Maybe we're going to get in that field and we're going to make a lot of money and we're going to cash flow this. But you've got to think through this. Scholarships, what can you do? You know, what are my options around the country? I don't care that you can't drive to some place in Arkansas, but if Arkansas's got something and it's a lot cheaper, I can tell you this, no animal owner cares where you went to school, and I promise you the animal doesn't care. But you, as a young man, have got to look at this stuff and go, is this worth it? Is there another way? These are two big questions that you don't have the answers to.
So to the worth it part, there is one thing that kind of makes me think it might be worth it is after you get out and get a vet license, you have to practice for a little bit under a company, of course, but the USDA can give you a contract for 3 years to go to a county they choose and pay $25,000 a year off of your student loan debt, and you can sign that contract as how many years you need to.
But there's some golden handcuffs there, because what are you going to be making there?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're
not
limited
making much.
income.
I got news for you, young man. You're not going to make a lot working for a county vet. In fact, you're going to be making the bottom of the barrel.
So they'll pay you $40K and they'll pay off 25 your student loans. That's a $65K deal.
Yeah, no thanks.
You could probably go make more than that elsewhere.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've been thinking about is also you make $40K working under somebody.
You need to go talk to some vets. You got to figure out what vets are actually making out there in your area doing what you do, and then figure out, okay, is this still what I want to pursue? And then how do I do it affordably? And so there's a few steps. I'm going to send you my book, Breaking Free from Broke, because I've got a whole section on student loans and how to go to college debt free. Here's the spark notes. Number one, you got to take debt off the table, Hayden. You got to say, I'm going to do it without debt no matter what. When you pre-decide that, it changes the rest of your decisions. Then we can talk about college savings accounts, choosing an affordable school, which might mean you might need to move across the country for this dream. And you can't limit yourself to these 3 schools that might cost a pretty penny. Then we get into applying for scholarships and grants as if it's a part-time job. I'm talking 15 to 20 hours a week. You're applying for so many scholarships and grants, your head is spinning. You hear me? And then you're also going to work part-time while you're in school. And all of this is going to help you cash flow it and help you leave without debt. And that might mean it takes longer, but right now, you're looking at a 10-year journey to become a vet. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And about $200,000.
Yikes!
With this current plan.
Hey, how sure? If you could do it for free, okay, you wouldn't have any of this debt. And that was one option on the table right now. And then I said to you, but I've got some other options that would allow you to use what you do well to do stuff that you like. Would you say, I'm not interested in that, I want to work with animals? I mean, how much of this is passion versus just a genuine kind of, I'm intrigued by it, seems like it might be fun? Because you're 18, awfully young. How well do you know that you want to do this?
So pretty well, because 16 to 17 years old, I had no idea. Like, that's when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I'm in FFA, and I show bears, and they would have me go down, give shots to pigs, cattle, whatever. And when I was doing it, I was like, this is actually kind of fun, taking care of these animals, make sure they're okay. And I've been interning with a vet.
Okay, good. Let me ask you this really quick, because our time is short. Is it possible, and if the answer is I don't know, that's okay, but I'd like for you to check into what would a path look like if you were to go work for a veterinarian at a lower level and pay your way through, some lower level degrees. Like, would they be interested in paying some of your education or reimbursing you? Is that done at that level? I would think it's a pretty, you talk about the large animals, I would think there's a lot of demand, yes or no?
Demand, yeah. I think there's like 100 or I think there's